Well, hello, everybody. My name is Lizzie Wagner, and I am the owner and clinical director at Green Mountain Counseling. Welcome to our webinar today about having a grounded home this summer. We are going to wait just a few minutes to see if a couple other people arrive, so maybe like a minute or two, and then we'll get going. Okay, well, it looks like most of us have arrived for the webinar today. Again, my name is Lizzie Wagner, and I'm the clinical director and owner of Green Mountain Counseling, and we are so happy today to have Mary join us. Mary Dominguez and I have worked together for a number of years, and it's always great to get together and hear from her. She specializes in women and trauma and relationships, and also is a supervisor and specialist in synergetic play therapy. And so you'll be hearing from her today, and I will get out of the way so you can hear from her. You take it away, Mary.
All right. Thanks, Lizzie. Yeah, I've been at Green Mountain for a few years now, and so I'm excited to get to do this. I absolutely love what I do. I love it so much. It's such an honor and a privilege. It's such sacred work. Um, but I'm not used to talking for this long to myself, looking at myself. So you guys bear with me. This environment's a little dysregulating for me. So I really hope that I can get across all that I want to share today. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our summer environment. We're going to talk about our children's nervous systems. We're going to talk about our nervous system. We're going to talk about what is nervous system regulation and what is nervous system dysregulation. And then we're also going to end with talking about 4 specific threats that will dysregulate our nervous system, in hopes that having this information that we can, as parents and caregivers, eliminate some of those threats from our summer environment, from what we can control of that. So my hope is that you will just maybe have a tidbit of something, some information that you can take away and you can apply it to whatever your summer environment looks like, whether that's at home, kids at summer camps, traveling, whatever it looks like. I hope that you can just have a little bit more groundedness and regulation in your home and in your environment. So summer already has the potential to be really dysregulating for both children and parents and caregivers. For children, they all of a sudden, their little school family that they spent so many days with, their school teacher, their friends, is all of a sudden dissipating. They lose a lot of structure. They lose their schedule. So much changes, and they might go to a different camp or go. Childcare might change. They might be at home the whole time. It's a lot of change, which has the potential for certain kids to get really dysregulated by. And then for us as parents and caregivers, it's really dysregulating to all of a sudden, whether it's our kids are back in the home. If we work inside the home, that can take away a lot of our peace and groundedness. Or if we work outside of the home, we're having to do a lot of work to find childcare, and that sometimes involves a lot of research and maybe more financial strain. So there's just this potential for summer to be pretty dysregulating. So my goal is just that maybe we have more awareness around how to regulate when that dysregulation comes up. It would be impossible to expect that our environment will fully be regulated because our nervous systems aren't designed that way. So We are having the goal to just be able to implement regulation when we see the need, but not for perfection of having this fully regulated household. That is impossible. It's impossible. I mean, I get dysregulated by my children daily, so it's impossible for that to just go away. Um, Okay, so my background and training is through the Synergetic Play Therapy Institute. This is located in Boulder, and it was founded by Lisa Dion. So, as I'm talking, if any of this content or if any of this information really resonates with you and feels meaningful to you, I would highly encourage you to go to the Synergetic Play Therapy website. There's so many resources there. There is the directory. State by state to find certified play therapists. There's incredible trainings if you're a therapist listening, incredible trainings. If you're a parent, there's resources. And the certification program was one of the most meaningful things that I've done in my career thus far. Not only for me as a therapist, but on a personal level, it was really life-changing and meaningful. So I can't sing its praises enough. Okay. So, I also want to note that anytime we talk about parenting, there's so many emotions that are involved. We care so much for these little souls and beings that are in our care, and there's so many emotions attached to this. And one of the emotions that can come up is shame. And so I just want to name that and name where we are trying to shift every day to be better parents. And so don't walk away or don't, if you notice some shame arising, nip it in the bud. We are us just like being here and talking about this is a shift towards better parenting. So I just want to name that. And parenting it's such a gift. It's such a privilege. It is such a joy, and it can be really challenging, really stressful, really dysregulating, really, really hard. So both of those are true. So I want us to just pause and take a moment to regulate together before we jump into this. So if that's comfortable to close your eyes or leave your eyes open, I want us to all just take a deep breath together. I want you to tune into your body and notice what your body's feeling like. Are there any places of stress or anxiety or activation? Notice how your body's feeling. Notice your emotions as we just name summer dysregulation. What comes up emotionally? Just take a moment to connect to our body as we take in all of this information. And I also want you to just like send some thanks to yourself for showing up to learn some strategies to show up better for yourself and your kids. Okay, so here we go. We're going to first dive into the nervous system. I believe a lot of this information is a little bit more out there these days with social media and everything. I think that it's more available than it was 10 years ago. So I'm really hoping that a lot of you already have a knowledge base on the nervous system that we can just build off of. And if you do not, I'm so glad that you're here starting to learn this, because it is like really life-changing to know about yourself and your children. So I'm going to attempt to just kind of give an overview of the nervous system. What is dysregulation and what is regulation? So as we are moving through our life, moving through our day, our brain is constantly taking in information data, and it's kind of like filtering out like what we need, what we don't need. I kind of like to think of it as a funnel. So much goes through, we funnel through what's important. And as we're doing this, if our brain notices or perceives a challenge, it will check into the nervous system, and the nervous system will go one of two ways. So we're moving through life, a challenge arises. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. Leah just taught me how I can do this. So let's see if I can get it up so that you guys can follow along. Slides. There we go. Okay. Try not to get dysregulated by all these words. Listen to me and then we'll get here. So our nervous system gets dysregulated. The first direction that it will go is this left column. This is technically called the sympathetic response, but you've probably heard the words fight, flight, freeze. This is when our brain detects, perceives a challenge, and it thinks, oh, I can do something about this challenge. Like, I'm going to take this challenge on. Like, I'm going to do something about it. It will go over here. Some of the symptoms, I'm just going to read these through and you look along. Hyper alert, hyper vigilant, increased heart rate, defensiveness, pounding sensation in the head, anxious, excessive motor activity, overwhelmed, disorganized, highly irritable, uncontrollable bouts of rage, aggressive, disassociation. So I want you to pause and reflect. And this is more of just an exercise of being curious. You're not going to have time to like really journal through all of this, but if you have a piece of paper, just jot down a few things that you can expand on later or just reflect. When do you see your child going to this response? I want you to be curious. What time of day is it? Is it during a transition? Is it a certain environment? Is it a certain people they're around? Are there certain activities? I want you to practice to start getting curious about what challenge might your child be perceiving. When you see these responses, there's a potential that they perceived a challenge. So we really want to get curious about that in order to help them. Okay, so that's a sympathetic response. Next response, same thing. We're going through our day. Our brain perceives a challenge. It goes on alert. We might go to the right. This is the collapse response. This is if our brain is like, I can't do anything about this. Like, I don't want to do anything about this. This is too much. This is too much for me to handle. It may go into the collapse response. This is technically called the parasympathetic dorsal vagal response. The characteristics are helplessness, appearing lifeless, numbing, lack of motivation, lethargic, tired, dulled capacity to feel significant events, emotional constriction, depression, isolation, disassociation. I want you to think about the same questions. Do you ever notice your child having these responses? What's the environment? What's going on for them? Is there a certain person? Is there a certain time of day? Is there a certain activity? Once again, the practice of being curious about what the perceived challenge might be. Also, us as parents are absolutely not immune to this, and we also are having the same back and forth throughout our day. The thing about this is our bodies are designed for this. Our bodies are designed to do this for safety. Our bodies are designed to seek safety when there's a challenge. The problem is our brains aren't always able to filter out, is this a life-threatening challenge? Do I have to fight for my life? Or is this just like a little challenge? Like, is this life-threatening? Or did my daughter just cover her body in green paint and it got all over the carpet? That might have happened to me this week. It wasn't life-threatening. It was just carpet, but my body responded aggressive, rage, anxious, pounding sensation. Like my body responded as if there was a life-threatening situation, which there wasn't. But and so I had to really, really do some regulation before interacting with my child. So I want us to know this is normal. In the nervous system, we just have to learn how to regulate and how to get back to that place. So regulation is the goal here. The goal is not to never go left or right. The goal is to be able to come back to a regulated place when we do, to be able to have awareness that our nervous system is doing this so that we can be strategic. So now we're going to look at the center column. This is the regulated column. This is when we feel grounded. So as I'm saying regulated or dysregulated, that's what I'm referring to. Regulated is the center column. So let's read through the traits of this. Your child can think logically clearly. You're able to make conscious choices. You're able to make eye contact. You can display a wide range of emotional expression. You feel grounded. You're able to notice your breath. Your sleep cycles are stable. You feel poised. You have an internal awareness of both mind and body. This one's important. We're not just living in our mind and abandoning our body. We're not just living in our body and abandoning rationality. There's a connection when we're grounded. We're in the body. We're able to communicate verbally in a clear manner. Okay, so now with this one, once again, let's ask the same questions. When do I see my child regulated? What are the activities that they do when you see them regulated? Who are the people they're with? What are the environments they're in? Same questions to ponder. How often are they regulated? Okay, now I want us to shift. How often are you as a parent regulated? How often do you think you're in this middle column when you're interacting with your kids? Are you able to come back to this middle column when you notice left and right? Are you able to come back here? Okay, so we're going to talk about how we do that. So I'm trying to get to this next page. There we go. Okay. So these are regulation activities. These are very child-based, but it's same true for us as parents. These are all based on the senses. These are all very sensory based to activate our tactile, to activate our auditory, to help ground our body. So I want you to just kind of scan through this. You'll see movement based things, you'll see tactile, you'll see auditory. Just kind of scan through this list and be curious about what does my child naturally do? What do I naturally do? I'll give you a second to scan through that. Okay. So our children need to see how we as parents go from a dysregulated state to a regulated state. They need to see us modeling this. I think it's like almost like when you're on the airplane and they say this to me every time. And I'm like, yes, I know, I know, I know. They'll come over and be like, put your mask on before your child's mask. Put your oxygen on first. This is the same with nervous system regulation. We cannot expect our child to be able to do this if we're not regulating our nervous system first. If we don't have the skills to do this, we can't expect our children. So if this is something that's new to you, I want you to even like kind of throw the parenting thing out the window and just focus on like you learning how to regulate your own nervous system first. That's so, so important. Okay, so I want us to think about when you were pondering both sides. I'm going to take this screen off real quick. Hold on. There we go. When you were pondering the different situations that may lead your kid into the sympathetic response or the parasympathetic collapse response, I want you to kind of think about like what are those times, and get curious about if there's a way you can incorporate some of those regulating activities into those moments. And I'll give you an example from my own life. One of the times of the day that is so dysregulating for me is bedtime. And it's dysregulating for my children as well. Like if I think about that chart, I start to see a lot of excessive motor activity. They start running around the house doing sprints. I call it the zoomies. They start doing the zoomies. They start bouncing into each other, bouncing into things. They may start getting really hyper vigilant about the surroundings in their bedroom. They may go into hyper alert about like, what's that sound? What's that noise? And these are all symptoms that they're perceiving a challenge. Typically, the challenge is like just the transition into bedtime or the separation anxiety that comes with that. And I wonder how they would respond if I would be more intentional about some of these grounding activities. If I were to put them in a warm bath, if I were to do some rubbing of their arms and legs as they're getting into bed and laying there, if I were to play some soft music, if I were to put a grounding blanket on them, I wonder what their response would be. And if I'm really, really honest, my nervous system is so dysregulated at that time. I'm feeling really anxious about all the things I have to get done once they get in bed. I'm feeling anxious that they might not go to bed and I might like lose my alone time. I've been on all day. I'm really looking forward to some alone time. So I'm anxious that that might be taken from me. I am a lot less patient. I'm a lot more, I have a tendency more towards anger. And those days, some days I have this luxury of going to yoga at like 5. It's pretty rare, but some days. And I notice bedtime goes so much better because I'm regulated. So the challenge for us as parents is in those times where you notice your children showing signs of dysregulation. Can you practice your own regulation, and can you be honest about like, is my dysregulation adding to this? And what can you do to experiment around that? That's the goal here, is to start getting curious about how you can incorporate regulation. Now, this is not going to go perfectly. These are like baby steps. Starting to experiment with this, starting to just kind of, yeah, be more curious around it, and moving towards more moments of regulation, more regulated nervous system. That's the goal, not perfection. Okay, so I want us to pause once again and kind of think about how can we incorporate some of this into our summer environment? How can we incorporate some of these regulation? Oh, my headphones just died. Oh well. Can everyone still hear me? Okay. How can we incorporate regulating activities into our summer environment? Whether that means making sure there's movement every day, whether that means like in times of transition, we put in some music and movement, and we are really communicative about what's going on. Model. How can we model our own nervous system regulation with our children as they're with us this summer? Start getting curious about that. Okay, so we are going to shift into talking about 4 specific threats. Now, these are specific things that when they are in the environment, our children will get dysregulated. I'm hoping that with this knowledge, you can do whatever you can to prevent this. As we talk about this, you're going to see that a lot of this is not in our control, but some of it is. And just an awareness around it will help also like give you some insight if your kid's dysregulated and you're like, oh, that 4th threat is in place right now. Like I'm going to have to help them regulate. I'm hoping that will kind of guide you. So, okay, the first one. The first threat to the nervous system, when our brain detects this, our nervous system will be dysregulated. It'll go either into fight, flight, freeze, or collapse. It's physical safety. That's the highest priority of our brain. This one feels a little obvious. Like, of course, if there's a threat to our safety, of course, if someone's going to hurt us, of course, if we feel unsafe, we're going to get dysregulated. It feels a little obvious, but I had to state it because it's the highest priority of the brain. So if there's something that is like, there's some perception of physical danger, that's the important part of it. Maybe as an adult, there's no physical danger here, but my child has a perception of physical danger. Maybe they're at rock climbing camp and we know that there's safety protocols, but our child is perceiving physical danger. They will get dysregulated. So we'll have to help regulate. We'll have to help talk whatever regulation looks like in that moment. Another thing with this is illness. It's really like when there's illness in the home, we can expect more dysregulation. I like specifically think about COVID, like when there was, we all like, I'm sure as soon as I say COVID, our bodies all go dysregulated because it was so dysregulating. All of the illness, the unknowns of the illness, the physical danger of the illness. That's an example of illness being really dysregulating. So that's the first physical threat, first threat to the nervous system. Second threat to the nervous system is the unknown. When there's events that occur where there's a lot of unknowns, our nervous system goes into dysregulation. What's interesting about this is it's not actually the unknown, it's our perception of the unknown. And when we perceive unknown, what happens is our brain goes back to like all the old experiences, all the data we know about this, and our brain tends to go to the worst case scenario. And so then it just assumes the worst when the unknown comes up. Um, and so something that from SPT, Lisa Dion always said that stuck with me is make the unknown known. Whatever you can do in your children's life to make the unknown known or in your own life will help ground the nervous system a bit more. So some examples of this, like is your kid going to a new summer camp? Is there any way you can help make that unknown experience more known? Whether that means you go tour the campus, or you look at photos online, or you look into who their counselor will be. If you are traveling, maybe make a schedule for them. Whatever you can do to make the unknown known will help eliminate dysregulation. A really, really easy grab for this is making a calendar that your kid can access, their summer calendar, with the monthly plans and like the weekly plans, even maybe the daily. If you are organized enough to have like a daily structure, but if you are, that will help them, like just so that they can go access, what do I know will happen today? What do I know will happen this week? What do I know will happen this month? Any way that you can make the unknown known for your child will help them. Now, a lot of this we can't control. Like we can't control a lot of unknowns, but there's parts of what's in it that we can control. So look for, what of this can I control and what of this can I make known, and communicate with my child, and have them be able to feel a little bit more grounded in that. So there's like, also, yeah, there could be certain anxious events like going to a doctor's appointment, or like I said, summer camp, or there could be the preemptive of like making a calendar, and talking about what's going to happen. Okay, so threats. We've got physical safety. We've got the unknown. The third threat to the nervous system that will lead your child into dysregulation is incongruence in the environment. Now, there's a few different ways incongruence in the environment can show up. The first one is actions and words don't match. Like what you say isn't matching actions. This one can be hard. This is like an example of this is like boundaries. This one is really, I make a lot of mistakes in this area. This one's really hard for me. When I put a boundary in place, following through and making sure my actions match my words. Because actually, if they don't, that dysregulates our kids when our actions and our words don't match. So we have to make sure what we're saying is matching our actions to give our kids that felt sense of safety and that groundedness in their body. Another example of this is like your kid comes in the kitchen, maybe you and your spouse just got in a disagreement, maybe something stressful happened at work, you're moving around the kitchen, whatever, you're like, you're stressed, and they're like, Mama, what's wrong? And you're like, I'm fine, nothing's wrong, and they're like, this doesn't feel fine, this doesn't feel okay, you're saying you're fine, this doesn't feel fine. When our emotions aren't matching, when there's incongruence in the emotions, that will throw them off. And this is a perfect way that you can model nervous system regulation for your kid, to say, yeah, I'm feeling really stressed in my body. My heart is racing. I'm feeling a pit in my stomach. I'm feeling a lot of stress. You don't have to fix this. You don't have to do anything about this. I have some ways that I'm going to take care of this stress in my body. I'm going to go on a walk. I'm going to call a friend. I'm going to really try to get my body to feel grounded and to feel safe. Yeah, so what you're sensing is accurate, but we'll take care of this and I'll get grounded. That is a perfect way to model. Oh, okay, so yeah, so what I felt was actually accurate to what she's saying. Also, this builds trust in their own intuition. This builds trust in themselves when you can affirm what they feel instead of blowing it off or acting like it's not there. Another big thing that is incongruence in the environment are like secrets. If there are secrets in the family that the child may feel, and not like you have to like think about what's developmentally appropriate to share with your child, but even just vaguely naming what's going on so that they don't sense incongruence with secrets. That's a big one. Okay, so physical safety, unknown, and incongruence in the environment. The last threat to the nervous system is shoulds and unmet expectations. Shoulds. When we are shoulding ourselves, or when our child feels a lot of shoulds, it's linked to shame. When we it's really what it is putting expectations on ourselves that we can't meet. So who we are versus who we are pushing ourselves to be in that moment, or who our kid actually is versus who they're pushing themselves to be, or what they're being pressured to be. So I want to do a little activity. I want you to close your eyes and think about a common should that you should yourself with, like whatever, like I should exercise more, I should read more, I should whatever first pops up. Close your eyes, and I want you to say it to yourself over and over. I should exercise more. I should blank. I should blank. Just say it to yourself over and over. I am guessing that you are starting to feel nervous system dysregulation. It is automatic that when we should ourselves, our nervous system doesn't like that. It leads to shame. So I want you to be really, really mindful of should language, not own, like really in yourself. Like, how often are you modeling should language? How often do you hear your kids saying should language? And it's really about the mindset. Like we can have goals. Like it's about how you are talking about these goals and how you are speaking to yourself in your mind over these goals. So like I should exercise more is different than like I'd love to get in a walk today. I'd love to exercise. I can see if it fits into my schedule and it fits into my capacity today. It's all about how you verbalize it and speak in your mind. So we really want to make sure that we're not shoulding ourselves, we're not shoulding our children, and our children aren't shoulding ourselves. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about Brene Brown, but she's the biggest guru in shame research out there. So if you are finding a lot of shoulds and a lot of shame in yourself and your kids, I would highly encourage you to go seek out some of her resources for how to build shame resilience, because yeah, shame resilience really helps with grounding your nervous system. And it's a big deal. Okay. So yeah, so let's think about some of we can't control all of these threats, but what of them can we control to help set up our summer environment? And to be on the lookout. If you see one of these threats arise, know, oh my gosh, of course my kid is dysregulated. Like, or of course I'm dysregulated. Now we need to be intentional to regulate. We need to be intentional to move towards regulation in these moments. Even if you walk away with just awareness around when you're dysregulated, that's a huge win. Where these are baby steps. So I want you to stop and reflect on what are some practical take homes that I can apply to my summer environment. What's a baby step? A baby step could be awareness around when I'm going to fight, flight, freeze, when I'm going to collapse, awareness around my child in this. A baby step is modeling this for my kid. A baby step is maybe taking some of the practical things of like making a schedule to make some of the unknowns known. Like just any little practical bit, because this is a process to get to where we are skilled at nervous system regulation. It doesn't happen overnight. I learned some of this stuff like over 10 years ago, and I still am working on my nervous system regulation. It's a practice that you have to work at. So yeah, I appreciate you guys being here and listening in. That's all I have today. And here's to hoping we can ground a little bit more in our summer environments this summer.
Thank you so much, Mary. And thank you all for being here. We will have this up on our YouTube channel. And so if you want to share this with anybody, it'll be up in the next week or so. Thank you, Mary, again. And everybody have a great summer. Take care.